Today on our 2011 Ford Escape, we're going to be installing the Roadmaster Taillight wiring kit, part number RM-152-LED. This kit's going to give you all the necessary lighting you'll need when towing your vehicle. It uses a completely separate bulb and wiring, so it doesn't tap into your vehicle's wiring at all. This can be useful on some vehicles where the module is circuit protected, where it may cause the bulbs not to blink fast, or the FET to prevent the bulb from working. It's also great if your vehicle is still under its factory warranty, as splicing into your wires can void your warranty on your wiring. So if you have a wiring issue, you may be forking over the big bill. Now this does void the warranty on your tail lamps because you have to drill into it. However, wiring repairs are typically much more expensive than taillight assemblies. The wiring included in the kit will run from the bulbs up to your existing 4, 6, or 7 pole connector. When hooked up to your RV, all the signals from your RV will be sent back to these bulbs, providing you with your left turn, right turn, tail, and stop lamp signals. They're made of LEDs, which typically last much longer than your conventional bulb. It's also very bright, so everybody behind you will know what you're intended to do when you do it. The kit doesn't include a 4, 6, or 7 pole connector. Here in our vehicle we chose to use the Pollock 6 pole connector, part number PK12720. Let's show you how to get it installed now. To begin our installation, we're going to run our wiring included in our kit from the front of our vehicle back to the tail lights. I'm going to run that wire now, and then I'll show you how I routed it. So we started by tying off our wiring down by our connector. We then ran it down through the fascia, through part of the underneath subframe, up to our brake line brackets, following the brackets all the way back. Now we went up on top of the fuel tank, came out the back side, tied it off to wiring, went over our rear suspension, and now we're back at the back. When routing your wire, you do want to make sure you avoid any moving components or extremely hot heat sources such as your exhaust system. Next, we need to separate our wiring. The green wire is for the passenger side. The white wire goes to ground. The yellow wire goes to the driver's side, and the brown wire will go to both sides for our taillights. For now, I'm just going to separate out the green and the white and leave the brown and yellow together. Now that we've separated out the green wire, we're going to route that over to the passenger side, and then we're going to zip tie it off to the various connection points. And now we've got our green wire on our passenger side below the tail light. We'll be routing these wires up in a moment. Before we route our wires up to our tail light, we're going to snip our white wire about here because we're going to be connecting it to the ground. With our vehicle run to the back, we'll have to remove the taillight assemblies so we can route it up to those. We're on our passenger side now. We want to remove the 2 screws located behind the liftgate. Set those aside. Then we can pull our taillight assembly out. You want to pull straight back when removing it so as not to break the tabs. If you're having difficulties getting the taillight assembly out, you can use a flat-bladed object, such as a trim panel remover, to help pry it out. Now that you've got your taillight assembly removed, disconnect both electrical connectors by pressing in the tab. And then you can set that aside. Now repeat those same steps on your driver's side. Now to help feed our wiring up through the bumper into our taillight housing socket, we're going to use some sort of hard object that we can push down inside the bumper, feed it down, then we can attach our wiring to it and pull it back up. To get your wiring back up, you'll take the pull wire you push down, the brown and yellow wire, and the white wire we cut off earlier, and attach them together. You can do this using some electrical tape. And then just feed it back up. Cut your yellow and brown wire about the same length as your factory wires. Separate the 2 and strip back the brown, yellow, and white wire. Now we need to make our socket for our bulb. This is our driver's side taillight assembly. We're going to be placing it on the lower inside edge of our taillight assembly. So when our taillight assembly is installed in the vehicle, it'll be like that. We'll be placing it here. We'll use a 1-inch hole saw to drill the hole. To get your bulb to fit properly, you're going to need to bend out the tabs so that way it'll fit snugly in the socket. Once the bulb fits snugly in the socket, pull it back out, put a nice thick bead of silicone all the way around the edge to make sure it seals to keep any moisture from getting inside your tail lamp assembly. Then slide the bulb in, making sure it seats fully. Now you repeat the same process on the other side. Now we'll connect our driver's side taillight. The excess brown wire that we cut off earlier, strip back some of that. And then strip back each wire to the bulb that we just inserted in the taillight assembly. Connect the white wire to the black wire using the butt connectors provided in the kit. We're going to use the blue for anything that's a single wire and the yellow for ones that have multiple wires. The yellow wire is your turn signal and brake for the driver's side. We're going to connect that to the red wire. The brown wire that we fed up through our taillight hole is for our taillights. We're going to connect that to the extra brown wire that we cut off by twisting them together and running it into one of the yellow connectors. Then we'll connect that to the brown wire on our light bulb. Now we have to run the brown wire back down because it's got to be fed over to our passenger side to provide taillight signals to that side as well. Now we can reinstall our driver's side tail lamp. Before you do that, make sure you plug in both of the factory connectors. Then reinstall the 2 screws. Now we need to connect the white wire that we had cut earlier to ground. So the white wire we fed down from our tail light, we're going to cut it here. Now we're going to strip back each one of these ends so we can connect it to a central ground point. Twist the white wires together and connect them to the eyelet provided in your kit. Or you can upgrade to a heat shrink connector like we have here. Since this is going to be outside the vehicle, this will prevent any rust or corrosion occurring on these circuits. Now go ahead and drill this into the lower part of your frame here, and that way you'll have a sturdy connection outside the vehicle. If you chose to upgrade to a heat shrink connector, go ahead and use a heat gun to shrink that down now. Route your brown and white wire along the green wire over to the passenger side. Now again, you could use your pull wire to feed these wires up, but there's a little bit more room on your passenger side. So you might be able to get your arm down in there, grab the wires, and just pull them up. You can go ahead and cut off some of the excess. Set it aside. Strip back each wire. Then strip back each wire on your taillight. And now we'll be connecting our green to the red, our brown to the brown, and our white to the black. Now reinstall your passenger side taillight just like you did your driver's side. Now back up at the front, we'll need to connect it to your 4, 6, or 7 pole connector. To start, you'll want to separate each wire. Now that we've got our wires separated, if you're using a 6 or 7 pole, you'll want to slide on the rubber isolator, and then we'll start to connect it to our 6 pole. Strip back each wire. Connect your white wire to the ground labeled on the back of your connector. Connect the left turn or driver's side turn signal to your connector. That'll be labeled LT on the connector, and that'll be the yellow wire that we had run. Connect the green wire to your right turn, which is going to be labeled RT. And last, connect your brown wire to your tail lights, which will be labeled TM. Make sure each wire is secure. To prevent rust and corrosion in the future, use some dielectric grease on the back of each of the wires. Slide on your rubber insulator and wrap each end with electrical tape to help seal it. Now we can connect it back to the bracket on our vehicle. It's a good time to plug in your 6-way, 4-way, or 7-way connector and test everything out. Here we have our tail lights, left turn, right turn, and brake lamps. With everything working properly, we're ready to hook it up to our RV and hit the road. And that completes our installation of the Roadmaster taillight wiring kit on our 2011 Ford Escape.
Thanks for watching. Click the link in our description below to shop, learn more, or visit us at eTrailer.com and leave us a comment if you have any questions.